Hey everybody, how's it going? We would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we are creating and streaming from today and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. My name is Flynn and I am here with the Jeremy Mura, logo and brand designer and educator. How's it doing? How's it doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really well. The weather is cloudy today, but the sun came out for a few minutes before and I caught some of it. So yeah, I'm happy. Yeah.
Oh, good job. It's been pouring here. Yeah, terrible weather, not fun. But we're going to have some fun today because we're talking about my favorite topic, which is branding and graphic design. So going to have a fun time here with Jeremy today and all of you in chat as well. We are live, so if you have any questions as we're going along, don't hesitate to throw them in chat. Let us know. Don't be shy. Big shout out to Gareth and Alessandra who is in chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from, what's going on. I know it's 2 a.m. in the morning for Gareth. I don't know how you do it. That's crazy. But it's great to have you hanging out with us. Let us know if you've got any questions as we're rolling along. Oh, Annika in chat as well. Streamer in the chat. That's awesome. But Jeremy, it's been a while since we've had you on. We've done some pretty fun branding projects, some logo design projects, like expanding things and everything. Do you want to kind of give people a bit of an overview of who you are and what you do first, and then we'll kind of jump into what we're up to today?
100%. Thanks, first of all, for having me on. Super excited to be here again. My name is Jeremy. I'm a designer from Sydney, Australia. I mainly focus on brand design, so I help clients with their branding, logos, websites, which is super cool. I also help beginner graphic designers learn about branding and run a freelance business. So here's my website, jeremymura.com. You can check out. I do have some free resources on there. I've got a free ebook as well on how to win your first client, and so you can just sign up for that. Totally free. I also have courses on Skillshare that you can learn from, all about design. And you can also follow me on Instagram, where I post some content all about design, branding, and freelancing. And it's going to help you level up your game. But that's a little bit about me. I'm also a dad as well, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Michelle. But yeah.
Shout out to Michelle, carrying the team for sure while you're here with us.
Yeah, in the other room.
I also noticed that on your Instagram, you're like 99.9K.
It went down. It wasn't like 102, and then it was going down. And I'm like, what's going on, man? The Instagram gods are doing something to the algorithm.
Yeah. That's Instagram. I was like, oh, that's so close. That'd be killing me right now. Well, there you go. If you're not following Jeremy already, give him a follow. We got to bump those numbers up. This is great. Well, yeah, we're going to be jumping into mockups today, which I think is such a cool topic. So especially for beginners and things like that, people just starting out, you're like, how do I make my portfolio look professional? Like I've got these brand design projects, maybe they're fictitious projects you've done for yourself. You're trying to expand it out, make them look real. We're going to learn how to do some of that today, which is really cool.
100%. I'm super excited. So one of the first things I want to show you is just some of the work. If you go on my Behance, I've got some projects here from clients and some side projects. And so, showing your work, as Flynn was just mentioning, it really makes it pop. And so showing cool mock-ups, whether it's a flat design or a 3D mock-up, will really make things just stand out, make it realistic, because your client is always trying to visualize in their head. If you're just showing a logo on just a flat surface, then they're not going to be able to see that picture and see the full vision of the brand. So, here's some examples of how I like to show mock-ups. And it looks very tricky, but it's literally just some Photoshop work, throwing some designs and changing the color really. But I always try and keep it really simple and just make it realistic and relevant to the brand. So this brand, for example, was for a mobile tire company in Sydney. We mainly focused on, they were just doing a vinyl wrap and a logo. They just needed the colors and the typography. So, just showing a few mock-ups on the main deliverables is all I had to do to really sell the idea of this new brand. So that's a quick example. Now, before I jump in to Illustrator and Photoshop, I'll show you guys some websites I love using with mockups. Number one is mrmockup.com. They are super beautiful, really realistic. You can also get a bundle. I'm not affiliated with them, but they've got just amazing mockups, everything from stationery to coffee, whole bunch of stuff. A few other ones is yellowimages.com. They've got a lot of cool ones, heaps of different stuff there. ls.graphics as well. Heaps of different styles and, stickers, phones, assets. Smartobjects.co as well as another one. Lovely billboards and outdoor signage, which really pops. And then supply.family is another one, marketplace here full of like different stuff, tote bags, and it's just like uncommon. Like some of this stuff, like you won't find it anywhere else. Like it's unique in the style of Mockup. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some places to create those mockups.
That's cool.
So I'm gonna jump in Illustrator real quick, and I've been I worked on this client logo recently. It was actually for my cousin. He does a lead generation business, and so it's called Lead Links. We did custom typography here, as you can see, like the slants and stuff. And we created this like cool icon. It's got sort of a techie vibe, techie feel with this gradient, and we're gonna start to plug this in. And so what I love to do is, I love to just lay out like tagline, slogans, the logos, the icon in Illustrator. Then we're gonna use that, copy and paste it into Photoshop. It's literally that simple. And I love it because Adobe just is in sync when it comes to all the Adobe apps. And that's why I love, using it cross-platform. So here's just a few examples of like some of the other like mockups I've done before. You can see it's just like an iPad that was already laid out, and then like creating, a red glow there in the back, super simple. You can see like a business card there as well, and then just chucking the logo there. And then here was like the van wrap. So you can see if I turn off all the layers, it's literally like just the van like that. But when you double click into the smart object, you can see this is just a vector design that I did in Illustrator, and I copy and pasted it as a vector object, as you can see, and then just saving it, and then it creates this like 3D van, which looks super cool.
Yeah, and it's so good as well, like for showing clients like what it could really look like, especially when they're not
100%.
designers, right? You're like, hey, like, yes, we have this logo. This is how you could roll it out, either immediately or over time as well. Like as you grow the business, is what it could look like, and then get really excited about it. Yeah,
totally agree with you. It makes your designs just that much more wow, and have that wow factor in it. So awesome. All right, so let's jump right into it. So I've got this dashboard, I've got a tagline. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I've got my colors in here. So I'm going to select one of these laptops. So on the right, you can see my layers panel here, looking really cool. And you can see we've got folders. So I can click on these different folders, and they've got pre-made laptops here. So like one's like a white, one's a black, one's like a space gray, one's like a silver, whatever. I'll probably go for like black or space gray. Typically that's pretty cool. And then what I would like to do is I'm going to add a solid color, and I'm going to change the background. I'm going to go to Illustrator, and you can see I've got this color selected in my swatches. I can double click and get my hex code. I'll just copy, go back to Photoshop, paste that in here, and now I've got that color. I'll press Control Shift left square bracket to bring it to the bottom there. And I'm just going to get rid of this background color here. So obviously I can use this layer, but I'll just have this at the bottom, just easier. So I've got that background. Now what I want to do is I want to change the design. So I'm going to make sure that I click on the mockup folder here. And then I'm going to locate to the screen. So you can see if I turn the eyeball off. I love just turning the eyeball so I can see what layer I'm on.
Yeah.
That really helps. So I'm going to double click this. Yeah, because sometimes it's confusing. Like, where am I? Like, so I've got this design, and so I'm just going to, turn that off. Actually, I'm just going to put that solid color as well, because I want to use that, and I'm going to have that. Beautiful. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this dashboard, which is like just a mock-up for like the brand. We're going to create sort of maybe the hero section for the main like design of the website, because we're using a laptop. So when we think of a laptop, I'm not just going to chuck the logo on there. I want to sort of have like the hero design,
right?
Because then it would sort of not be in context, right? So we've got that. I'm going to get this text. I'm going to use Satoshi. What font did I use for this? I think it was I think it was Code Next. So I'm going to go Code Next here, change that. We'll make it bold. And then I'll probably go white. Paste it in as a smart object, or I could just retype it. Really, I can, press T, paste it in there, which is probably better so I can edit it. But it's really up to you, like how you want to do it. Like if you're just trying to get it done really fast, then it's really easy.
It's always like a really fast way until you need to go back and edit a word out, and then you're like, should have done it with the text editor.
Exactly. That's the consequences of trying to do things fast sometimes.
Yeah.
So
By
I'm
the
just
way,
selecting.
if you're new here as well, feel free to ask questions as we're going along. I notice a bunch more people have joined since we started. So we are live. So if you have questions as we're going along for Jeremy, don't hesitate to throw your questions in chat, and we'll do our best to answer them as we're rolling along.
Beautiful. Yeah, guys, feel free to ask anything. I'm very open. So I'll just copy paste the logo in there, and then I've got some text here. And so I'll probably go for like a light gray color. Bump the leading a bit. We'll change that font. We'll go probably regular. Code next. Paste that in. Just to make sure I copy all of this. Whoa. It needs to, I know why, because I didn't do it. Why isn't it copying everything? I'm gonna center this text. Now I'll just copy. This is a smart object. And then I'll fix it up in a little bit, but I just want to quickly see. So what we want to do is I like to go to Window and go to Arrange. And what I like to do is like tool up like this. And then we'll go back to the laptop. Just get rid of that. And so then I can get a glance of what I'm seeing. And all I've got to do is within this smart object that I was doing the design, I just press Control S to save that. And it should automatically update here, just like that. Boom. So now you can see we've got this cool setup here. You know, it's looking good. We can obviously like play around with the text and edit it. So maybe I want to like bring this up a little bit. Maybe scale it down.
So whenever you make a change and once you save it, it'll affect the mock-up.
Exactly. And
That's
so
cool.
And that's why I can just see at a glance it's like super easy. And then maybe it's like, oh, maybe I'm not digging this background. Maybe I want to add like a gradient or something. You know, I can, you know, come through here. I'll go to the blues and let's just say we'll do this. And then, you know, I can always go back to Illustrator. I can actually save it into my libraries. So if I got libraries here, here's another quick way as well. So for example, if I just go like create a new library, you can make it for your client. And then I can add that color there, and then can add these colors.
You got your gradient and both color values as well.
Yeah, exactly. Just in case, so I can make sure that it's I can do it. So then, if I go to where's libraries? Pretty sure it's somewhere here. Just gonna change this real quick.
I'm using a different playlist, regular listeners of the show as well, so if it gets a little bit wacky, that's why. That's why. Some weird song just came on, so I'm skipping that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, who's joining us?
Yeah, it sounded like a Disney like music intro or something to like some Disney film, but yeah, this is yet to be curated playlist. We're trying new things today.
Love it. Are you still what music are you into? Have you changed your taste recently, or?
Well, we just stream like with chill hop, like just something like nice background music. It's not really like what I would listen to outside. Yeah, Annika, yeah, I was wondering that. Yeah, there might be a couple of little funny songs sneak in today, but
yeah,
whatever.
Cool.
It's fine. It's fine.
That's awesome.
I do wish we could just play whatever music. That would be nice.
Totally.
It would be just 80s hip hop here on it.
80s. Oh man, 80. I think 80s and 90s. You can't beat it. The music these days is just like, you know, it doesn't work.
So, okay. What about you? What's your music? What's your go-to?
My go-to, I still love lo-fi, but I've been recently getting back into like deep house, which I love as well. There's this guy, he has, what's his name again? I don't know. If you go on like if you go on YouTube, he does like these mixes where he's like on a rooftop or like outside in like a mountain range or whatever.
Mm.
And he's DJing and it's just like a mad house mix, like good vibes and everything, and it's just like really, really cool.
That can be like really good music to like design to and kind of zone out, like kind of keep your
Totally.
energy pumping.
100%. Like it's just like good vibes and no lyric, not too much lyric. There is a few lyrics, but it's like you can just like zone out and just like
Yeah,
get the head bop going and just like I'm in design mode, like chilling.
exactly.
Yeah. Another cool thing I like to do is like sometimes like I'll just throw the logo there. Let me just go change this, consolidate. Let's paste the logo here and I'll like scale it up maybe like this. Bring it to the back. And then I'll drop like opacity. Let's go like maybe 40% or something like that. And then maybe I'll add a mask and maybe I want it to like blur it a bit more, make it look a bit more interesting, instead of just making it clear. So that's like one way, like you can always like make it look interesting, make it look better. I can click on this space, this laptop, and maybe I want to scale it up. So I'll select the folder and press Control T and just like scale it up. Or maybe I want to make it look like it's like flying or something, Obviously it's got like a shadow though. I'd probably have to,
Oh yeah.
let me see if they, usually you can just turn off the shadows and like redo it yourself. So you can see I can turn the shadow off. So there's a shadow layer right here. So that's why I always say get premium mockups, because everything is layered and built for you. So you can actually just turn things off and change things,
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a bit of a danger. Like I totally understand people not wanting to spend kind of money on mockups. And it seems like if you Google it, you can find lots of free ones. But gosh, the amount of times I've been trying to get a free mockup to actually work and look good, it can sometimes be more hindrance than it was help.
100%. It's yeah, it can just like be a mad time waster trying to do things manually and just like it's tricky. So there we have that mock. I think it's pretty cool. I can obviously add like if you're maybe doing a 3D design type of stuff, you could add like floating objects, or like if it's an illustration or like whatever, you could put it on the outside. But I think if you just want to be simple, you can just show it like that. I think that's really cool. Let's jump over to like doing a business card now. So for this business card, I'll probably, stick to something like this. And instead of just doing the logo, I'm just going to, let's try and create a quick, business card. So I'm going to put the logo here. Let's add some text.
Got a question in chat from Alessandra. Since when have you been doing mockups? So yeah, I guess like how long have you been doing mockups, and has your process changed over time? I'll add.
Yeah, good question. I've been doing mockups for probably like 10 years. I've been freelancing for a long time. So I think I've always used some sort of mockup when I'm presenting my designs. Over time, it's gone beyond mockups and like showing brand strategy and the discovery and making the mockups like I've invested a lot in mockups, and I like buying, as I showed you some sites before, there's also bundles on, like, for example, Design Cuts have bundles. You can get a whole mockup collection for like $30.
Right.
When they launch those bundles like every few months or whatever. And so I always put mockups because it's my client, it just sells the design better, and the clients just you get less revisions because like, oh wow, this actually looks legit. And yeah, I always try and put effort, because in the presentation phase, if you can just sell them on that first go, then you just like save so much time,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like as you kind of advance through your career, some of those things, it's like $30 is nothing, right? If it saves you even a little bit of time, it's such a good investment to check it out.
100%.
For sure. First ever business card I got had 3 spelling mistakes on it.
What? Was it from a designer or the print
Yeah,
shop?
it was.
Stuff?
I won't say anything more about who actually designed it. It was because what happened was I was
Dude.
working for it was not the first one I did, because obviously I did one in design school, and then like after that, all that sort of thing. But I was so excited. They were beautiful. They were like 500 GSM, like painted
Oh,
on the
that's nice. Thick
edges,
print
like
and
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And but they made my cards first as the template, so it was just a mock-up. And they used just my basic details, but because it was just the original like mock-up, it just ended up making it to print, and then everybody else's was right. So there was about 5 or 6 other people that got brand new business cards, and then mine. And my name was wrong, my email was wrong. It was like mobile number was like 0414444444 or something.
oh
And I
my
got
gosh.
1,000 of them. I kept one.
That sucks,
I
man.
thought it
There's
was
always
really
horror. There's always horror stories. That's the thing.
It took me like another 3 years before I got a business card that actually like was right. I was so sad.
Oh, dude.
It's all right. I'm over it.
Oh well. Oh well.
But yeah, check your spelling, guys, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
It's amazing what makes
That's
it to print.
Oh yeah. I think we've all made mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I remember. I've said this before on a live, but one time I was doing a design for like a cafe, and I didn't print it off and check the size of the text. Like I thought the size was gonna be all right, but I should have went to like Officeworks or something and just printed it on like A3 and see how it looked. But the text was so small, the guy couldn't read it. Like the owner was like, "This is so small, the customers can't even read it. Like you messed up and all this stuff."
Oh, no.
I felt so bad. I was like, "Dude, I'll fix it for free. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'll just try and fix it." But yeah, it didn't. He didn't like it. It was bad. Hey, but yeah, you all make mistakes. So
Yeah, definitely. I was working for a team that was doing a prospectus and spelt the company owner's name incorrectly on the second page of the printed final sent out to people
yep.
booklet. That didn't go down well.
Lesson learned. Always double check, guys.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna change the background color here. Oh, my camera turned off. There we go. All right, I'm gonna double click on the color fill and just change that.
This is a cool one. I like these kind of defying gravity kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. The card looks nice and thick as well. Good
I wonder
quality.
if it must.
Texture.
That's got to be an actual photo, right? They've just kind of held it up with something and then they photoshopped it out or something.
Yeah, that's what I
pretty
think.
legit.
Yeah, they probably held a string or something and just cut it out or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so this one has like 3 folders. It's got like a deboss, an emboss, and a print foil. And so what I have to put it in the right one. Obviously, I put the design here, but it just seems like it's I don't know why it's not doing it, unless sometimes you have to put it on the right one. Let me. Click save. It should. I don't know why it's not. It seems to not want to work. Why is it doing it?
Because we're live.
Yep. Why does this always happen when it's something always goes wrong sometimes, huh?
It's got to be. It's always the way.
All right, I'm gonna get rid of the deboss ones, and then I think, oh, here we go, print. Yeah, sorry, I got to put it on the. So with this one, basically, the smart object is connected to the print and foil. So if I do it on this one, let me just close. Okay, there you go. So for the designers out there, you need to find the main layer, because what tends to happen is they create a duplicate and they link the smart object to other layers.
Right.
So you can see these other layers have like this, this deboss or emboss effect. And so it like, I'm pretty sure you can see for the card, it adds like this sort of shadow to make it like pop a bit more. So I think just having it on that print section looks
like there's a layer that has like a bit of a gradient to give some kind of light to it.
Exactly.
And then the other ones are like the emboss. Maybe the other one's like, I don't know, shadow or something like that.
And this you can see this layer here, it's got a bit of it's adding that texture. It's like blending the design with the card. So you can see like it's a bit like I want to drop it a bit just to make it a bit more lighter. You can also go to these light effects. So you can see there's like these light effects as well. We can always like, hey, let's like maybe add a brightness, and I can just bring it down here and put it onto the card only, and then I can brighten it up a bit. Maybe
so it's behind the artwork, or is it?
The light,
the card. Okay.
Yeah, it's affecting just everything. But I want to say, hey, let's if we just want to affect the card, I'm going to add a brightness here, and you can see I'm putting the brightness up a little bit just to make the colors pop a little bit more. So always feel free to like customize the mockup that you have to as much as you want, to make it like relevant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go down to this card. No, I don't want to go to color libraries. I'm just going to go back to Illustrator. Just doing the fast way. Color fill, copy and paste that in. So we've got the card there. And then for this one as well, you can see we've got the design. Double click that. And then we just want to double click the color fill, change the hex code. Press Control S to save. And see, now we've just basically colored those cards black. Obviously, we can put like another logo there or whatever, but I think the main thing we want to show is like this. So that's another cool, mock-up. Yeah.
I remember like cool. Edges being like the brand color were all the rage at one point. I don't know if that's still a thing that people do. Like the edge
possibly.
Around.
Yeah, 100%.
Another question from chat, if you don't mind.
Yeah, awesome.
What is something you find enjoyable from doing logo and brand design?
I just love creating something from nothing. I love when you have that process of playing with a logo or a design, and then you start adding color and you start customizing the text and the shapes and like just making it more custom. You feel like you've created something unique. I feel like that's the best feeling. I love creating that. And then I love when I create the mock-ups and it all comes together and it just looks cohesive and it looks like you've created this nice brand that came out of nothing, and like your client can enjoy that and use it in the real world. And then once they launch in the real world, it's like, is it like, you get that feeling like, oh wow, my work's out there. It's like a living, breathing thing. And your brand, the designs that you made is out there on someone's sign or shop or whatever. And that's the best feeling, I feel like. So yeah.
Nice. It's a good feeling. So we should mention that you're using Bridge here as well.
Yeah, totally.
This is Bridge. So is this super useful for like keeping your mockups? Because you mentioned before that you've kind of acquired a lot of kind of mockups that you've used like over time, and do you find Bridge a good way to navigate?
100%. Yeah, so basically I've got like all these mockups, as you can see, these mockup folders. I double click and it just helps me be really organized. It says I can see everything at a glance. So my trick is what I do, I click view and then I click show items from subfolders. Then I would go to file type on the left and click Photoshop. And so it's only going to show me all these mockups, right? And then so I can just press like Command plus or Control plus, like to, zoom in, right? I can also like press spacebar. Obviously, it'll probably cut off the screen, but I can change it from tiles and just do thumbnails only. I can change the grid if I want. So I love that customized visibility. I love seeing everything at a glance.
Yeah.
it just speeds up the process like by 10 times. Yeah.
It's really cool. I mean, I think one of the main, as you said, like just being able to actually see a Photoshop file as a glance as a thumbnail. Because of course, if you're using like PC or Mac and you're just using file, like you have to understand that you have to write like a naming convention and then remember what it is, which is, there's got to be a point where you have too many mockups to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Annika says, repeat after me, I am a mockup hoarder.
I am a mockup hoarder. Let's go for this one. I think all designers like have probably mockups for like days. Like I remember one time. I remember my my college teacher. He said he had 30,000 fonts on his hard drive or something, and I was like, and he's like, I probably only use like maybe 50 or something. It was like insanely like, yeah, it was insane, but yeah, it was cool.
I remember that back in the day. I remember before fonts like online was a thing, and there was Typekit, or which is Adobe fonts and other options like that. I remember there was just shenanigans going around of like people working in studios and then somehow coming out with this giant library of fonts on hard drives, and it's like, where'd you get that from? They're like, oh,
exactly. They're like, what's happening here? You
actually have the studio name like on the font, like in the font file, and it's like, this is from this studio, and it's like 4,000 fonts. Dodgy times. Annika has 2,000 fonts. About 2,000. Wow.
2,000. Awesome. I think I have 8,000, but I don't use them all. I honestly just I use like a font manager, a font base, and I just like activate only like probably only like a couple hundred of them, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a lot of fonts.
A lot of fonts. I'm just quickly whipping up some text here, so we can put it on the letterhead. Which is super cool. Yeah.
So you're working super fast. I've had this before when you've been on the stream.
Yep.
Do you have any tips of like for working efficiently? I can't even talk efficiently. Working like efficiently, is it really down to the shortcuts and practice?
I think a lot of it is the shortcuts, and just knowing what the fastest way to get a result. So it's like, what tool is going to help me get this result quicker? And so like, a client does not care how you create the mockup. They don't care how you came up with the design. Obviously, I'm not talking about like the idea, like the rationale. I'm talking about like how the final design. They just care about results. So, whatever, if you want to use AI or like whatever tool or whatever plugin, use it to your advantage. Like, I think that's the best way. And you only get better by taking action or taking a course or going on YouTube and like, learning like what's the best and fastest way to do something. And then obviously I like creating templates. Obviously I didn't prepare a template for this, but you could go online quickly and download a letterhead, and then I can just swap the logo, swap the text, and like whatever. So yeah, I think that's what I've sort of learned over the years. And I'm also very good with Illustrator and Photoshop. I've been using it for many years, and yeah, I just like figuring out those shortcuts to make it the best possible thing.
Yeah. And it's probably also a thing like down to knowing like when you've finished, I guess. Like, I think that's one of the hardest things starting out, is to know when you're done, like, and then moving on to the next thing. I think that's one of the hardest things, to kind of that design eye and being like, yep, that's good. I'm happy with that. Let's move on. Knowing how much time to spend on something, how many iterations to do of something as well.
Yeah.
It could be something that you might not know at the beginning, but then you get quite good at.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of which, Alessandra asked in chat, how do you know which mockup won't be good to use?
Good question. I will first ask myself, is this relevant, and is this in the context of this brand and this company?
Right.
So if I'm designing for a tech company, they probably want to see like, what it would look like on a website, what it would look like on an app icon, what it would look like on maybe Discord channel for a community. If it's maybe a gaming company, maybe they want to see what it looks like on social media graphics because they put a lot of marketing stuff and promotional stuff, maybe flyers or whatever. And so first ask yourself, what is the context? What is relevant? And then once you do that, then you look for a mockup and then say, does this mockup feel unique? Will this make my client go, wow, like this is awesome, this looks great? Or does it just look generic? Because sometimes we have like a lot of generic design, generic mockups that I've seen like 100,000 times from other designers using the same ones. So then I start to look for like, can I find some unique ones? I might have to spend some time looking, but hey, it's worth it if I can find something unique. Yeah. Because that's what I realized. Like I follow some other great like logo designers. Like one guy is Marcus. His name's Marcus Wrench. I think I said his name right, but he's from, I think he's German as well, actually, or European. And he has these cool mockups. I'm like, where do you get those? Like sometimes I question like they're really cool. Like I haven't seen that before, So it just makes that difference,
Yeah, and I think context is really great. Like what you would give to like a tradesperson or something like that would want probably a very different aesthetic to your example of a tech company. Like it's just going to look different. You got to make stuff that the client would see their brand in.
100%.
Have you seen the Mockups reality pack where it's like all these like torn up signs and posters that have been ripped and everything?
Yeah, I've seen that. And I've also seen paper tears. They're really cool.
I really like it. I'm going to share it in chat for anyone that would like to take a look. It's satirical, but it's like, where your mock-ups kind of would end up if they were in the real world. And it's like signs that have fallen over. And
that's so cool.
I think there's someone sitting on the toilet looking at their phone, so just be warned.
Be warned. Right on. All right, we got the background going. Grab this text.
I noticed the copy, there was like a little tagline then about leads and stuff. Is that typically something that you would write, just kind of make it up, or like through your research, get some sort of copy and write it and then give it to the client, and then they might come back to you and say, hey, we really like this, but we've got our own tagline? Or is it typically something you would probably get from the client, like this one?
Yeah, 100%. Typically the client has taglines and slogans and stuff, but I prefer to actually come up with stuff. And with AI now, like something like ChatGPT, you can actually generate a lot of ideas, but I obviously would customize it based on the target audience and the brand and all that stuff. But yeah, usually I'll either use AI to help me generate some ideas, or I'll come up with myself based on like my experience and the discovery that I have with the client, or the client will just send me the what they have already. But like usually they're most of the time they have a name, they have a tagline, and like a basic marketing slogans. So yeah,
like they have like a USP. It's like, we're this, but we do it this way, or
exactly,
we're different because of this. And you're like, cool, great, I need to expand off that to create this visual version of that.
Yeah, 100%. I do recommend like designers putting in effort to learn how to do some copywriting, because it just increases your value by the 10x. And because you can offer that as a service, like, hey, I'm going to offer you a brand strategy session where we're going to dive deep into your messaging and help you craft gain clarity and craft a unique message for that specific ideal client. And so I think it's just good to understand that, have that business understanding, and it's going to help you like give ideas to your clients, because your ideas might not have a copywriter. There might be a small business trying to just like, and most of the times they all say the same thing, like, I'm the number one dry cleaner in Australia, or like like they say just generic cliche things, and it's like, no, it's not, it doesn't it sounds bad, you know,
Right.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
The best coffee.
Australia's #1 coffee,
Yeah.
Northwest or something, you know. But yeah. All right,
Yeah, I think
let's.
that's good. I think that's good advice. And yeah, you're right. I mean, most business, I mean, how big's a business got to be before you start employing a copywriter or think that, you know, that's a space to kind of invest specifically. But if you're like, hey, we can roll it all into everything else we're doing, and it's, you know, this extra amount, or, you know, bundle it in with the other things that you're doing, demonstrate the value.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Throw it in through ChatGPT, press print, and off you go.
Call it a day.
It is interesting with all the AI coming out, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen?
It is. It is.
I told my wife about ChatGPT pretty early on, and she was using it a lot in her job, and I'm like, don't tell anyone about this. I'm like, it's gonna come out soon for sure, like, because it's so crazy good.
Yep.
And she was using it for a couple of weeks. Gosh, it was saving her time. Like, she was using it way better than I would.
Oh wow.
Really clever, interesting ways to use it. And then a company had an agency come in and say, hey, you guys have got to check out this ChatGPT thing. And I was like, oh no, it's all over. Cat's out of the bag.
It's all over. I think a lot of companies will be using it, man. Like, it's just time saver. But apparently, they're actually releasing ChatGPT 4. It's coming out like in the next few weeks or something.
Oh really?
Yeah, a new version. So it just basically means more language modules and updated yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. And we should get back to what we're doing here as well. So you're changing the layer of the plant there.
Yep.
Is that
So
changing
what
it to the brand color with the
I'm just
overlay?
Yeah, so what I did a solid color, and then I changed it to vivid light. You know, I love playing with blending modes in Photoshop. It's beautiful. And typically I love to play with like multiply, color dodge, linear dodge, overlay, and like hard light usually looks good. But I just like, you know, adding some of those branding elements, you know, into that, you know, just making the brand like unique. Obviously, like, yeah, just adding the colors, adding the brand colors. Like before it was really generic and didn't have anything, but now it's like we're starting to like play around. See some things, and maybe I can even make a pattern. So maybe, for example, this brochure will have like a pattern. So let's go and create a little pattern with this icon. And you know, Illustrator is the best for this. So I'm gonna go to Object Pattern, Make. I'll go brick by row. I'll bump the width and the height up like this. I think that looks pretty cool. We'll go maybe 7x7. And then you can see in my swatches panel, I have that pattern now like this.
Yeah. And while you did that, it just created a pattern for you, didn't it? Like as you put it in the swatch. Yeah. Exactly.
And then I'll show you guys a quick trick. If you press S, hold Alt or Option, left click on this, it's going to open the scale panel. Now what I want to do is tick transform patterns, tick off transform objects, make sure preview's on, and I'm going to drop the size down. So you can see I can scale it, or I can just scale it down to like 60%, press OK. And now we have this, and then what you want to do is you want to click plus in the swatches and call it small pattern. And so now I've got the original and then the smaller one like that.
Oh, cool.
In like a few seconds. So I'm going to go back to this mock-up, the brochure. I'm going to find the design. So you can see the layer says your design. Double click here. Let's paste this pattern. And obviously I'm just guessing that the size. You can press Control Alt C or Control Option C if you're on a Mac, and I can see the pixels. And then what you got to do, you just go to Illustrator, and you can actually just like create an artboard. You know, for example, if I create an artboard like this, and then I can like do it accurately. But I'm just doing it quick for for you guys. But that's a quick tip as well.
Quick for the stream, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's cool.
I'm gonna change the color here. Bring that to the back. Got this. That's fine. So like, I think that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
The
nice.
background. Yeah, I think it's looking good. It's looking good. I just want to darken the background. You can see sometimes the mockups, like because there's lighting and texture, it like comes off a bit, you know. So we'll darken that up. And like maybe I'm not really digging this texture, right? You know, maybe I want to use something else. Let's maybe go to like free pick and type texture. And let's say like stone metal or something. See what pops up. This is kind of cool. I'm gonna download this. Just put it in my downloads folder real quick. And then I'm just gonna go to my downloads and drag this texture into Photoshop. I'm just gonna scale that up. I'll turn the other texture off, and then we've got this texture, and then let's drop the opacity down. So I'm gonna drop the opacity down like that. And you can see how, because the texture's a little bit straight, maybe we want to sort of make it in a perspective. You can go to edit, transform, and you can go like perspective or warp. And so, you know, we can like, it's probably not going to be a perfect job, but I'm going to make it look like it's on an angle. I'll press enter and then I'll just like maybe skip it up or something.
Yeah, just so it doesn't look super flat.
Yeah.
It's like a almost scan in kind of thing, or a flat photo originally. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I can add like a mask, and what I love to do is like sort of maybe like we want to darken the background a bit. If you press like a number on your keyboard, it will like change the opacity if you select the usually the opacity of the brush. Yes, its opacity is 70%. So I'm basically bringing attention to like the mock-up.
It's like a vignette.
And so exactly. And so then what I can do, I can press Control Alt Shift E. It's going to merge all the layers. And then what I like to do sometimes is like go Control Shift A. Or if you know in the Mac, it's Command Shift A. And it's going to open up the camera raw filter. And then what I can always do, and you can use this for photo manipulation, for anything, even mockups. What I can actually do is maybe want to bump the contrast a bit. I'll actually bump the texture up. And so it just adds like more details.
And this is doing it to the whole, like the whole file, right? Like you're not affecting a single layer. You're doing this kind of at the end. Is this when you would do something like this?
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
At the very, very end. So then you can see I can bump the texture. It like brightens things up. The clarity, don't put it up too much. I'll probably leave the clarity for this one because then it might get a bit too bright. But yeah, you can bump the texture up. And then you can see the before and after. Like it's just like little subtle effects. Bring the highlights down. And then maybe you want to let's bump the saturation a tiny bit. Press OK. So you can see it just pops a little bit more. As you can see there. So the layers up the top, I can always just turn it off and on if I don't like it. And then what I love to do as well, let me just bring this all the way up. Typically I like to go filter and go blur gallery. And then like something like a iris blur or tilt shift. So you can click and drag and move stuff around, and you can see that it sort of blurs the outside. And so you can rotate it, you can adjust the radial or the radius like that. I can drag it up. And so maybe I want like something like this. And the blur, I'll probably drop it like maybe a couple pixels, and then press OK up the top left. And then so now it's got sort of this blur effect, you can see that. So it's just focusing on the mock-up. So that's a cool trick you can use for anything. If you want to focus, say, on the, if you have a really detailed mock-up, you want to focus and like on that, then that's a cool thing. And the cool thing is it's on one layer and I can just like turn it off or delete it.
Yeah.
and I can go back to the original, the edit I had before.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that like idea of like kind of blurring the edges to like really focus your eye in is something that you don't really notice if you're not looking for it, but for some reason everything else looks sharp, and of course it's because of the contrast of the blur on the edges.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Cool
And like, for example,
technique.
yeah, it's cool technique. And I can even, do it to this one. So for example, maybe this one time I want to do like a tilt shift. And so this one's a little bit different. It just, it's more of like a linear one, like straight. And so maybe I want to put it on an angle, like similar to what that is. And the blur, you can change the blur by like adjusting this line. As you can see, so, or maybe I'll just bring it like right near that. Bring the blur like that. You can see that brings the blur in. Sometimes
It's kind of cool. I wouldn't have thought of doing like blurs in mockups, but yeah, I can see how it would help.
Yeah, I think it just adds that extra touch. It does.
Yeah.
It does require a bit more time, but you can see it's got those blurs now on this one, and yeah, I think it looks cool. I think it looks good. All right, let's see if we have time for one more. Maybe not,
Probably,
but
maybe not. We've got about 3 minutes. Well, Jeremy's. Do you want to try and do one in 3 minutes? Nah, 3 minutes isn't
nah,
enough
it's too short. Too short.
Let's plug tomorrow's stream. So do you want to just kind of give us a bit of a sneak preview of tomorrow's stream, and then I think will be time today.
Yeah, sure. So we're going to be doing a monogram.
Yeah.
Which is going to be super cool. We're going to be working on a coffee brand, bit of a vintage retro style. And yeah, I don't have the file on me right now, but let's see if I can find monogram vintage. Something that's really cool.
I've got an example. I'll just throw over the over our screen, just the
Perfect.
Art for it, so you can see that is a monogram. But I'll pop it back. And we can chat about it. But yeah, if you're not familiar with what a monogram is, I mean, I think they were like popular in clothing originally. Like you'd have your the letter of your first name and then the letter of your second name. It's like aristocrats or something. It was like sewn in.
100%. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's
They were embroidered onto like shirts and hats and
yeah.
It's
You
industrial.
get on your lapel if you were like an old boy or something like that. But yeah, so it's like tends to be like prestige brands. I would say, like the example you've got here, it could be like a very fancy restaurant or something like that.
Yep. Even think of is it Gucci or Dolce and Gabbana? They've got like that intertwined logo. Yeah, you can see like this simple. That's like a simple monogram, right? It just intertwines. Obviously, it's just overlaid over each other, but we want to make things more interesting where the letters intersect and stuff like that. But yeah.
Cool. Well, that's us for today. So that's us tomorrow. So please join us for that as well. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Gareth, Alessandra, Carl as well in chat, and everybody else that I've missed. But we've been hanging out with Jeremy Mura. Go give him a follow. Let's get that follow count back up because it's so close to killing me. Get back up there. But thank you so much, Jeremy. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.